I'm also ready to go.
Good evening and welcome to the April 10th, 2025 meeting of the Abington Township Board of Commissioners. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioners Brodsky, Rothman,
Here.
DePlacido,
Here.
Laney Martin,
Here.
Brown, Weingrod,
Here.
Henry,
Here.
Sapone,
Here.
Young Gertz,
Here.
Spiegelman,
Here.
Bowl,
Here.
Schreiber,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Vice President Vahey,
Here.
President Hecker.
Here. Thank you. May we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So I have just one announcement this evening, and I want to take a moment for the board and those in attendance and those who are watching in the community to congratulate our own police chief, Pat Malloy. Throughout his illustrious career, Pat has led the department with distinction and has been a voice and a model for departments across the country. And that is reflected in the roles that he is continually asked to take on. And in the past week, Chief Malloy was inducted to be the head of the Police Chiefs Association of Montgomery County, which oversees 50 active chiefs throughout the county. And this is both a reflection of Pat and his leadership and what he's instilled here in the police department in Abington Township, which is the envy of townships across the Commonwealth and across the country for that matter. So Pat, we honor your leadership. We thank you for your service. And if you want to take a minute to explain what this role is, please come forward.
Okay.
There you go.
President Hecker and members of the board, thank you so much for the kind words. It really is an honor for me to serve as a chief of police here. And I wouldn't be able to dedicate my time to the Montgomery County Chiefs and the other associations if it weren't for Deputy Chief Porter, Deputy Chief Quinn, my command staff supporting me. And really, when you look at the challenges in policing, I always say at command meetings, none of us are as good as all of us. When you have the collaboration of 50 chiefs looking at legislative change, criminal justice reform, how can we best adopt those policies that keep us all accredited, all to better serve and protect our community.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm humbled and honored, and I've been involved with many organizations throughout the region in the past, and I think the Montgomery County Chiefs is one of the most professional because we meet quarterly with roundtable discussions on personnel, on issues that are sensitive, contracts, and I just learned so much I learned more there from any labor attorney. The practical way that things work.
That's fine.
But anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It means a lot that you
Well,
made these
Pat,
comments.
on behalf of the board and the community, thank you for your leadership and dedication for so many years on behalf of the township. And we're delighted that you're being recognized for your leadership and that what you've instilled here in the department in Abington is seen as a model both regionally and nationally, and we're very proud of that.
Thank you so much, President.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will move to public comment on the agenda items that the board will be voting on this evening. And if you would like to comment on that, please come forward, state your name, and you have.
Adele Chubel, Abington. Concerning the minutes, I have these bullet points. I have said the minutes are a distortion of information. The minutes are utilized to create a false history. Summarizing my strong statements into resident expressed concern about the minutes is deceitful. Monthly commissioners vote forward minutes that are misleading and distort statements. Not accurately reporting information has created a perfect environment for a dictatorship. The only citizens welcome to support your agenda. The Jenkintown Abington Neighbors Association and Bike Montgomery County lobby for exactly what developers want. The Glenside Civic Association is not so much a grassroots association, it's a group that you approve of, and they work to cheerlead you. Citizens that want transparency, accountability, or an opportunity to participate in government are labeled haters and crazy. This type of behavior is found in dictatorships. The minutes secretary will not record the reason for petitions in the minutes. Writing a petition was submitted says nothing. This is particularly true when the petitions are rejected by commissioners. Over 200 citizens signed a petition stating that Mr. Manfredi should not continue in any position after retirement. The minutes secretary will not acknowledge the purpose of this petition in the minutes. Nothing negative about Mr. Manfredi's leadership or his deceptive practices has ever been recorded in the minutes. How can I get the severe rat infestation on the agenda? This is a door that was eaten by rats. How can I get the code violations of VIP speculators on the agenda? Last month, following your effort to silence me, I said, stop abusing me, please. I don't want to be manhandled. Nothing of this is written in the minutes. Calling police to remove me when I only have 2 minutes, 30 seconds to speak demonstrates no judgment. You referred to this episode as trying to focus the discussion. Dictatorships are never announced. Mr. Hecker, you act as a lead enforcer for a dictatorship. Nothing has been done about these properties in Miss Martin's area. This is by the Crestmont Playground, and you can't miss it. I believe Miss Martin probably walks out her door and sees this one. Why is nothing being done? Why is nothing being done? Why can't code enforcement do their jobs?
Thank you for your comments.
Shut up. Just say done.
Done. Anyone else wish to speak?
What you say.
Please come forward.
Good evening, Joe Rooney. I live in Ardsley. First, I'd like to agree with the board president, Mr. Hecker. And we're blessed to have a great chief. We're blessed to have a great police department, and it's wonderful. So thank you for recognizing them at the beginning. I know I've asked for that before, but I appreciate that, and it's well deserved. And just as a little aside, I know they could use a new shooting range. So if we could work on that, I'd be happy to help with it. It'll get them better qualifications. I have a question for the finance section. I saw that Rudolph Clark, it's February, is the listing. They got $10,500 for a retainer and $15,471 for land development and litigation. I assume those numbers are correct. That's $26,000 roughly for the month. That's not bad pay. But the question I have is, what's the name of our solicitor now? I've been told that it's changed, and I'm asking that question. I tried to look it up.
The law firm's name has changed. Mr. Clark's name has not changed.
I know that. So
Yeah.
I guess my question then is Mr. Clark the solicitor, or was it Rudolph Clark was hired as a solicitor with the meeting? I'm just trying to figure that out.
Well, we've retained the firm. I mean,
Yeah.
Mr. Clark has been the lead solicitor and continues to be so, but we have access to the team of lawyers that are part of that firm.
So if Rudolph Clark changes to CGBAG, does that require a board action in order to approve that?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's my
Yeah.
question is.
I mean, we
You
can
don't-
confirm that, but I mean, we didn't change If we were to change solicitors to a different group, that would require a vote.
Okay, and again, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, that doesn't, I mean, they changed their name. We're not changing who we're getting the services from.
Okay. Did that just happen, or is it, and obviously February, it was Rudolph Clark. And I don't mean to make a discussion, it's just a question I was asking. And then as an aside, we have Passover coming up and we have Easter coming up. Between the next meeting, I'd just like to wish our Christian and Jewish brothers and sisters a happy Passover. I wish I could say it, Hag Pesach Samiach, and then a happy Easter also. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to come forward? And if not, we will go to Zoom.
Miss Lehman, your mic's muted.
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane.
Hold on one second, Ms. Lehman, we're getting feedback. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I also had the question about the solicitor. Hold on for a second. I think that might be me. Okay. No, not okay. All right, give me just 1 second, please, to get the technical issue.
Stop the clock, please.
Thank you. All right, I think, no, I don't have it. Hold on.
Now, it's not any better.
Okay, thank you. I was having trouble with the sound, so I brought a cell phone to increase the sound, but apparently the two volumes together were a problem.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, thank you. If you'll start my minutes now, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we can restart the clock to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. So the first thing is I also have a question about the solicitor. Are you saying the Rudolph Clark changed their name and have the same people, but changed their name?
That's correct.
And all the people are the same?
Well, I'm going to let Mr. Clark answer that since it's his firm, but yes.
In November,
Your seat.
my partner Ed Rudolph left
Retired.
the firm.
Yeah.
We changed the name of the firm at that time. One other attorney went with Mr. Rudolph. Ed Rudolph and Ken Ferris have never done one moment of work for Abington Township.
Right.
Everyone who has, primarily me,
Lauren,
Lauren
yeah,
Gallagher,
Greg.
Greg Heleniak, have remained the same.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so my question would be that would seem to be something that, you know, the board could announce to the public and allow the public to agenda as an announcement, then the public can look into it and see if they have any questions or concerns. The other thing that concerns me greatly is the consent agenda. We had an agenda before I think this administration, and Mr. Manfredi came in and muddled it all up. But we had a very clear agenda where public safety items were together, public code enforcement and zoning items were all together. We had things all together. Public safety items were all together. Now they're mixed up all over the board with an incredible, I mean, idiotic consent agenda. Nobody's consented to it. After all kinds of, well, I don't know, I finally got an answer that it was just whatever Mr. Manfredi decided to put on the consent agenda, which of course he put immediately when the consent agenda was first developed. One of the most controversial items that we had, the Economic Development Corporation. So I would like to have you go back, please, to an agenda that makes sense. Nobody has consented to these consent agenda items. Nobody wants them to go quickly through. We would like to have them, for instance, you know, Mr. Hecker, you're my commissioner. You sent a newsletter out and mentioned that there was an ordinance about a gallery and museum, but you didn't tell your people what it was about, that they were interested in putting galleries and museums in the R1 residential district. And that's pretty important. So you just cursory mention and let it go by. So people don't really know to come to that meeting based on your brief sentence. We need better representation than that, and we need not to breeze through the important things that people need to see and have explained. So another issue that we have is I wrote all of you a letter and it has to do with how things are being approved behind the scenes sometimes, often in total disregard to our laws and ordinances.
Okay, Ms. Lehman, I'm going to ask you to conclude your comments. Your time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom? With that, we will turn to the consent agenda. And for that, I will turn to Board Vice President Matt Vahey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for passage of the consent agenda listed as items A through G. I so move.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Oh, wait,
Aye.
hold on. Before we vote, Commissioner Schreiber has a question.
On letter D, there's a misspelling. Katie's last name, it's not Sewell, it's Newell. So the S should be
Oh.
changed to an N.
Thank you. Okay. I don't need to ask for another motion, do I? Okay, thank you. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda carries. We have some unfinished business, and for that, I'll turn right back to the Board Vice President Matt Vahey.
Thank you, Mr. President. My all-time favorite ordinance to read. I move to authorize advertisement of the traffic safety ordinance number 2227, amending chapter 156, vehicles and traffic, article 3, section 25, parking regulations. No parking here to corner, to add the following restrictions. No parking here to corner or Keswick Avenue, east side, moving existing sign from 30 feet south of Oakdale Avenue to a point 70 feet south of Oakdale Avenue. On Arnold Avenue, east side 30 feet north of Woodland Road and Pershing Avenue, south side driveway of 2428 Pershing Avenue to Arnold Avenue. And no parking here to corner on Oakdale Ave, south side 30 feet east of the intersection with Keswick Avenue and special parking zones 1226 Hall Avenue, handicap parking. And I so move.
Second.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Great.
And Matt, we're going right back to you for new
Thank
business.
you. My second favorite. BOC-07-041025. Motion to award the following annual public works materials bids and authorize the township manager to execute all contracts for the following bids and authorize re-advertisement of the 2025 storm sewer inlets and manhole structures. The following 2025 ready-mix concrete bid awarded to JDM Materials in the amount of $24,815. The 2025 engineered retaining wall block bid award to JDM Material Company in the amount of $28,760. 2025 super paved materials bid, the bid award to Eureka Stone Quarry in the amount of $1,368,475. And I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded and well read by
Thank
Vice
you.
President Vahey. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next item in new business, BOC-08-041025. Motion to approve the Eastern Montgomery County Regional Emergency Management Group Mutual Aid Agreement for emergency services, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
BOC-09-041025, motion to adopt resolution number 25-16, revising the plan document for the Acme Township Fire Department length of service award program, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments or questions from members of the board? Tom, is there anything you want to speak to? You're certainly welcome to do so.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure.
I'll keep this very quick. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. The township has had a length of service program, awards program for the fire department dating back to 2005, whereby certain funds from the annual payment in lieu of taxes, I believe from the hospitals, gets deposited into a fund. And as the members hit their 60th birthday and they're vested, they get their award as part of the program. One of the things that have come up recently that were brought to our attention was, the first thing was the vesting time is 10 years. If somebody transfers from one Abington Township Fire Company to another, in their ninth, up to their ninth year, they start all over.
They lose
again.
that service,
They
huh?
lose that, yeah,
Ah,
exactly.
I didn't realize.
And so this is just essentially to fix that.
Mhm.
When the program was first implemented, it would never be thought of to join one other fire company from another. So it's, we're seeing some progress. And then the other part of the amendment will allow, when the member hits 60, they can opt for, a 3-year deferral instead of taking their
Oh,
fund at 60. And it allows them to do that 3 different times. So theoretically, they could defer up until they were 69.
Oh,
And this has no cost to the township or the program. It'll come out, it's $100, I think, per deferral that comes out of that member's fund. So that's what this would do.
that's really helpful.
It is.
Yeah, thank you,
So,
Tom.
thank-
Does anybody
we
have
appreciate it.
any questions for Tom while he's up here? No, I think this is a no-brainer. So with
Thank you.
that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks again, Tom.
Next item, BOC dash 10-041025, motion to approve the scope of services and authorize the bidding process for Roslyn Fire Company floor replacement. And I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Last item of new business, BOC dash 11-041025, motion to award the Ardsley Wildlife Sanctuary Phase 2 project to Think Green LLC in the amount of $296,225.59 and allocate contingency funding in the amount of $14,812.63 for any unforeseen expenditures during construction and to authorize the township manager to execute all contracts. And I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions for members of the board? Commissioner, I'm just about to get to you, but go ahead.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I just want to confirm that, because I'm looking at this contingency amount. This contingency amount is not coming out of the township contingency fund, correct? Everything is paid for?
Yes, that's
and-
correct.
And allocated in 2025. I also understand that this has to be completed by the end of 2025. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. yes.
So maybe I ask you, manager, who's in charge? We're going to make sure that this gets done on a timely basis.
So that gets managed in our office partly and also through Parks and Rec, so they'll keep charge of that project moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
And that concludes the new business for this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Vice President Vehy. We'll now turn to the Finance Committee and Finance Committee Chair, Commissioner Stuart Weingrad.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Okay. Only item this evening is FC 01041025, motion to approve the February 2025 expenditures in the amount of $4,071,071.91 and salaries and wages in the amount of $2,536,622.84 and authorizing the proper officials to sign and approve invoices and supporting documentation and payment of bills and contracts as they mature through the month of May 2025. And I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioners Brodsky,
Yes.
Rothman,
Yes.
DePlacido,
Yes.
Laney Martin,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Weingrad,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
DePone,
Yes.
Young Gertz,
Yes.
Spiegelman,
Yes.
Bowl,
Yes.
Schreiber,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Vice President Vehy,
Yes.
President Hecker.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you.
And that would conclude Finance Committee agenda items for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Weingrad. And that concludes the voting section of the meeting this evening. We'll now open it up for general matters of township business for public comment. So if you are here and you wish to speak, please come forward, and you have 3 minutes. We got to turn the mic on.
For close to 8 years, Mr. Manfredi invited those involved with VIP speculators to rot blocks and blocks of homes. Now hundreds of destroyed or decaying homes are controlled by speculators. Homeowners don't rot the roofs of their homes or turn their side and backyards into flammable dump sites. Why do you not allow code enforcement to do their job? The most blighted homes are turned into rental properties. Commissioners, with your assistance, Mr. Manfredi turned Abington into a destination for wealthy speculators looking to exploit citizens, destroy neighborhoods. The Economic Development Corporation is a nightmare after an 8-year nightmare. Mr. Manfredi and Karen Sanchez's law firms are unaffordable. Abington's trickle-down economy has meant no bollards to protect pedestrians on Old York Road. Traffic accidents along Old York Road and the Fairway totaled 444 in 2024. This is an increase of 119 crashes in 2 years. All commissioners refuse to pursue light-up safety signage for Old York Road crosswalks. I've talked about it for years already. Putting pedestrians in danger saves money for the trickle-down economy. Not adequately funding Briarbush or New Roslyn Library saves money for the trickle-down economy. Cutting street maintenance saves money for the trickle-down economy. Streets are pitted with potholes. Why are VIPs with Abington Jefferson Hospital connections being cordially invited to create rot? Highland Avenue, Horace Avenue, Edge Hill, Keith Road. The rot is now obvious. Susquehanna Road, Welsh Road, Easton Road, Old York Road, Woodland Road. The houses with severe roof decay and back inside your flammable dump sites are everywhere. My neighborhood has rot. Edmonds Road, where Mrs. Young Gertz lives, has 1855 Edmonds Road. 2 garages doors are missing and there's rot coming from that. You can't leave garage doors just missing for months. There's 10-foot weeds growing in the backyards. There's another house that doesn't have an address. The roof is so rotted and they're trying to keep it down with bricks on top of it. This needs to be repaired. Otherwise, we're going to have destroyed housing. Do you want to put the hotel and the 235 apartments on my house and my neighbors' homes? I believe you do. Otherwise, the houses wouldn't be allowed to rot. They're structurally damaged, and we're not supposed to have that in Abington. Weeds are not supposed to grow real high. 10 feet high is extremely high. Cars are not supposed to be parked on the grass, and they're parked on the grass and they're falling apart. This stinks. Why is this? And I do know they're friends. This is Welsh and Old York Road. It looks like this. And you're going to have, this is Housing Month, Fair Housing Month. What are you kidding? This is still there, the mattresses. There's also a washing machine there and a lot of garbage. Why? That whole area of Welsh is loaded with garbage. Why? Why is this allowed? Why is?
Ms. Kubel, I'm going to ask you to conclude your comments. Yeah,
Of course you will. And don't just bother with saying,
your time has
my time
expired.
has expired.
Please.
Thank you very much for your comments. Just say, sit down, sit down.
Please take your seat. Thank you. Your time has expired.
Not addressing anything, a dictatorship.
Anyone else wish to speak? Please come forward.
Hi, Joe Rooney again. I still live in Ardsley. I'm going to talk just a couple of minutes about the tearing down the middle school, because I sat here through multiple meetings where we worried about plastic bags at Joe's Market and O'Neill's and how it's going to affect the environment. Well, I think there's an environmental case could be had. The building's about 300,000 square feet, and it's about 23,000 square feet per floor. And that's built out of reinforced concrete with rebar. And I know plastic bags are clogging up our waistline. So I did the math, and it's about 14 million pounds of rubble just for the existing building, which is structurally sound. And that's all got to be disposed of. And in order to buy an equivalent amount of concrete to rebuild the structure, It's about 800,000 kilowatts of electricity to do that. And anybody that wants can check my math. But my point is, we spend 4 or 5 meetings worrying about plastic bags at, like I said, a couple of stores. I hope there's an equal threat or a discussion of the environmental impact of doing that. The middle school, or our North Campus for people who aren't there right now, is structurally sound. It's a valuable building. And I know numerous of the commissioners have encouraged people through their newsletters to vote yes to approve that project, which is a 13.5% tax increase on everybody in Rockledge and Abington. So I would hope that with all your environmental concerns that you guys have, that you would also raise that issue and explain that to your people as you write these newsletters, or maybe you could explain it to us how one is bad and the other one's good. I just hope they can do that. The other thing about that is we have to tear up existing fields, green space, and the stick diagram they have right now has a paving over the current location. So you're going to end up with more impervious surface. You're going to end up with a ton of, no, not a ton, I'm sorry, 7,000 tons of debris that have to be disposed of, and then all the costs associated with it. I have about 50 seconds left. I'd like to change topics a little bit. For the last week, we've been standing outside the township building and just talking with the people coming in to pay their taxes. And on 3 separate occasions, I watched the new tax collector come in, and I saw her insult Abington residents as they walked by for no reason other than to do that. And I also saw her actually once flip a bird at somebody. So I think that's pretty bad conduct. She's not even elected right now, but I wanted to point it out to you and to everybody else because very unprofessional and very disappointing. Thank you for your time.
For your comments.
George Salona, 1211 Nolan Road. Commissioner Malloy, I'd like to congratulate you, and your Citizens Police Academy is terrific. I want to talk about the Economic Development Corporation, which was foisted on the citizens. There are no videos in the archives. I cannot find any record of any activity by the EDC in the township website, which begs the question, what are they doing? Have they applied for tax exempt status like they are supposed to? Was it granted? Have they filed a Form 990, which they would be required since you are paying the former township commissioner $200,000 for God knows what? As far as the new school, voting yes is irresponsible. According to cost estimates by Expert Beacon, the maximum square footage for this should be $500. That would place the new building at approximately $168 million. That is over $11 million less than what is being asked. This is overestimating cost by 41%. The township already owns the land and there is no cost to purchasing the land. Has anyone thought to reach out to corporate donors, or do you just expect the poor, the elderly, the put upon citizens of Abington to continue to pay taxes? It is outrageous. Contrary to what has been published, literally no one that I know received any survey or questionnaire. The process is outrageously autocratic, distorted, irresponsible, and completely lacking in transparency. I lived the first 64 years of my life in Philadelphia. Philadelphia City Council always took the time to listen and respond to people. I expected the same when I came here. I have been sorely disappointed.
Good evening. Ellen Stark, Glenside, 372 Sylvania Avenue. I'd like to reiterate the congratulations to Chief Malloy for his excellent job that he's done, and I'm sure he's going to do a fabulous job as president of the Chiefs Association. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. President Hecker, and the commissioners. I have a petition signed by over 1,000 people from the Fair Hill and Easton Road Glenside community. The signatures include 558 online signatures, 494 in-person signatures, and 141 children's signatures from St. Luke's School. That's a total of 1,100, that's 1,193 concerned citizens signed this petition. And I'd like to read it into the record, please. Tell the Abington Township Commissioners to establish a flashing light pedestrian crossing at Easton Road and Fair Hill Ave. Our lives hold precious value that can't be replaced. As residents of the Easton Road, Fair Hill Avenue community, we witness close calls almost daily where cars speed up and down Easton Road, neglecting the safety of pedestrians and even our crossing guard. This reality hits home as our children also navigate this hazardous crossing. Easton Road and Fair Hill Ave are much more than a meaningless crossing. This intersection serves as a passageway for churchgoers, school children, shoppers, and commuters. Residents from the nearby large apartment complex, too, depend on the crossing frequently. It is disconcerting that such a busy crossroad lacks appropriate safety measures. The installation of a flashing light pedestrian crossing can significantly enhance safety. Research indicates that pedestrians are more likely to be seen in a flashing light crossing than a non-flashing counterpart. The crash rate can be reduced by 25%, according to the National Safety Administration. Imagine how many lives can be potentially saved and injuries prevented with this measure. It's time to prioritize our safety. It's time for action. Don't let another day go by risking lives that can be protected. I understand this initiative could cost anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000. And knowing that you're all good stewards of our tax dollars, I propose that you instruct the township manager to begin the process of applying to the state of Pennsylvania for a grant through the Green Light Program. Abington Township has received funds for traffic safety initiatives through this program in the past. Abington, along with other Pennsylvania municipalities, feed this fund through their red light camera fines. The municipalities take administrative and maintenance costs, and the remainder of that money is collected. The remainder of the money that's collected goes into the fund for traffic safety initiatives across the state. I'd like to know, to whom do I give this petition?
And give it to the manager this evening, and we'll take it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You can come forward, sir.
My name is Harry May. I live at 2422 Fairhill Avenue in Glenside, Abington Township. To follow up what Ellen had just spoke about, I do have a letter from the Scully Management Company, from Jim Scully, that addressed the Abington Township Board of Commissioners. The Scully Company owns Rosemore Gardens Apartments, which is at the corner between Fairhill and Rosemore on Easton Road. And his statement is, "Dear Commissioners, Scully Company manages the Rosemore Garden Apartments on Easton Road near the intersection of Fairhill Avenue and Easton Road. We have been alerted by numerous residents of Rosemore that the intersection of Easton Road and Fairhill Avenue can be very hazardous related to crossing Easton Road. At least a flashing light alert motorists of pedestrian crossings would have merit and may save a life. We respectfully request serious consideration be given to this situation." On a personal note, I've lived in Glenside my whole life, and I'll be 72 years old next month. I was a funeral director for many, many years, worked for my father, ran the business after my father passed. Had thousands of funerals at St. Luke's, as I'm a member of St. Luke's. And I would ask Chief Malloy, mainly Officer Sean Williams, who's a friend of mine, Officer Greg Urban, at different times when we have very large funerals, because that's a very, very dangerous intersection. to have assistance, police assistance, and they were gracious to do that. But there were other times when I would have the auxiliary police there that I would take care of myself. And I have done this where I've gotten out in the middle of the intersection to actually, because people couldn't cross the street when they're coming out of church, having a big funeral, that cars just wouldn't stop. I went to Greg Urban had told me that there was a flashing light at Moss Rehab now, at Township Line Road and Holm Avenue. And I took a ride over, and 200 or 300 yards before I got there, you can see what's there. When you're coming down Easton Road, either whether you're coming from Mount Carmel or you're coming from Keswick, there is not that. The flashing lights are on when the school's going into school in the morning and then in the afternoon. But other than that, those lights aren't there. So again, I feel very strongly about this. I felt very strongly for a long time about this. And now I wanted to be a part of trying to get this taken care of.
We appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
out. Do you have anything you want to leave behind as well? to
No,
light it down?
Ellen gave what
Okay.
what got together.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm just a third part of, I'm with Ellen and Harry, and we've been working together to do this, and I just want to.
And what your name is?
I'm sorry, Maria Hughes,
Thank you.
305 Abington Avenue, Glenside. I've lived in Glenside for 27 years now, and I'm a member of St. Luke's Parish. My children attended school at St. Luke's. My grandchildren now attend school at St. Luke's. I pick them up 4 days a week, so I'm at that intersection a lot. On the weekends, I'm using that intersection. It's an intersection that is used 7 days a week by everyone that Ellen mentioned to you. And it's a very dangerous intersection. I've witnessed the cars disregard the crossing guard that we have there. She puts her life on the line every day that she goes out there, and we are greatly appreciative of her. But we watch cars stop. She finally gets a car to stop. Cars that are behind her, behind the car that stopped, will go around and try to go through the intersection. And it doesn't happen just at our intersection that we're on. This is the first of many that we will get working on. But it's a really important thing. I've been saying for years, the good Lord's going to call me in this crosswalk. And I'm a grown-up and can do this. And I've watched kids, and people have, the children that stay after school for activities, they don't have a crossing guard there to cross them. Children that are doing weekend events and things like that, grown-ups that are doing, people don't stop. And as Harry noted, the flashing lights that we have there that are turned on during the school hours, when the crossing guard's there, she turns them on. They're not the official school lights, because the school is actually on Fairhill Avenue, not on Easton Road. So they're not the 15-mile-an-hour school zone lines. They're, it's just that yellow pedestrian crossing with flashing lights that no one pays attention to. So I just want to reiterate, and I thank you all for taking our petition under serious consideration. And we want it taken care of before a life is harmed seriously or even taken from us. So
Yeah,
thank
we
you very
understand.
much. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You as well. We appreciate your comments.
Good evening. My name's Dolores Johnson. I'm at 2428 Woodland Road in Roslyn. I'm kind of representing our area. There's the bridge out on Easton Road. Traffic is now coming down our little side streets that have two parking on both sides, many children. We're at the point where we feel like nothing's going to get done. I personally went up to Norristown today to speak to, let me back up. We went to Abington Township, not their problem. It's a county project. Went to the county. They don't return calls. They don't show up at our meetings. Now, somebody on the street was able to contact the roads and bridges, infrastructures and something department. A Thomas Bonner, I believe his name is on the website. So I went up to see if I could get a meeting with them. Not there anymore. Their website is outdated. It's somebody now named Jesse. I was promised he would call me today or send me an email. Nothing. Our main problems are it's a residential street, 25 miles an hour, many children. We have tractor trailers still coming down. Some of you may know, I had my electrical box ripped off my house to the point that the box in the basement where the breakers are shifted. If there was not an officer right in the area that saw it, the truck would have gotten away with it because he didn't even know he took the lines down. I'm on Social Security. Just my electric box was $1,900. My siding I have to have replaced. That's going to be almost $800. You know, something's got to be done. We wanted to do one-way streets on High Avenue and Arnold, but we had to get 70%, I believe was the number, of the residents to sign off that it was okay, that they accept this. Who in their right mind is going to sign a document saying, yes, bring all those tractor trailers down my street? You know, have the cars come flying down my street when it's not bumper to bumper for the full block. That's ridiculous. It's not going to happen. We're at the point where we feel it's not our problem anymore. It's your projects. You know, you guys work for us and we need something done. We've had 2 gentlemen hit by cars. One was caught on an officer's body camera. You know what he was told? He leaned into the car. Who in their right mind is going to purposely lean into a car to get hit? You know, like something's got to be done because neighbors are starting to take it into their own hands. Now, this is hearsay, but I have heard that things are being thrown at cars. There was a funeral procession that went down Arnold, and I felt bad for them because all the cars lined up on Woodland Road were beeping their horns, trying to get the traffic to move, not knowing it was a funeral coming through. Something's got to be done. Wawa trucks are the worst. They come through as late as 11 o'clock at night. The horn beeping, the cars revving as they peel out of Arnold. We're listening to this 24 hours a day. The 2 gentlemen that got hit, if that were a child that walked out between those cars, they'd be dead. They would be dead. Something's got to be done. So I appreciate you listening. Anybody wants to drive down Arnold Road, you can stop at my house and I'll make you a cup of coffee.
Okay.
Just so you can
And
see
we'll be
what
out.
we're living with.
Thank
Thank you very
you for
much.
coming out and sharing that tonight. We will follow up.
Good evening. My name, Commissioners, Township Manager, Township staff. My name is Kristen Kugelman. I'm the president of Greater Glenside Civic Association. I'm here tonight on behalf of the organization and the residents we represent to urge Abington Township to increase its focus on pedestrian safety. Glenside is a walkable, vibrant, and close-knit community. From our schools and our parks, walking to our train station and our small businesses in Keswick Village, people of all ages are walking, biking, pushing strollers along our streets every day. But over the past few years, we've heard growing chorus of concerns about speeding, dangerous intersections, as we've heard tonight, and areas that simply aren't safe to cross on foot, including Parkdale and Easton, which is the gateway to our biggest open space in Glenside Weldon. I walk my dog on these streets every day, and every day I see drivers speeding past crosswalks, rolling through stop signs. These aren't rare incidents. You heard it today. I'm echoing, I'm sure, from across all of your districts as well. These are not rare incidents. They're happening all over our neighborhood. The data backs up what we're seeing on the ground. Pedestrian fatalities are rising across the countries, and the solutions aren't a mystery. We know that infrastructure changes can save lives. Things like better signage, which was suggested today, improved and painted crosswalks. There are numerous intersections where children are crossing every day that don't even have a crosswalk painted. The township does a fabulous job with their social media and executing campaigns. So this is a whole effort that needs to happen. There are very, very special intersections that do need immediate attention, but this is a campaign that needs to be implemented across the township. So there's immediate things we can do, and there's things that we can do to create a lasting impact. I've seen promising steps. Both of these commissioners have helped with some of the painting of a crosswalk at Glenside Weldon area, but more needs to be done. This needs to be prioritized. This is what makes Abington special. We can walk places, we have sidewalks, we have beautiful trees that people need to take advantage. So I'm here to say, let's prioritize some campaigns in the budget, increase partnerships. We talked about grants, working with PennDOT and other agencies to improve our pedestrian safety. It's not going to be perfect. We're not asking for overnight success. We're solutions oriented at the Civic Association, so we want to participate. How can we rally our troops to support these projects? We would welcome the opportunity. We are currently working on an awesome new project with Commissioner Vahey that not only will calm traffic, but create a brand new green space. So let's get some of these things cooking so that we can show some immediate progress. And it's been stated here tonight, let's not wait for a tragedy to force our hands. Let's take the lead to actually put together a comprehensive plan. So I thank you so much for your time today, and that your interest in pedestrian safety becomes something that this Board of Commissioners talks about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Lori McCaffrey, 2241 Wharton Road. Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak. As a resident, I'd like to read a summary version of an email that I sent Commissioner Vahey last night that I think is relevant for everyone regarding the state of Keswick Village and the recent addition of another smoke shop, which I wrote as I stared at its flashing neon sign outside my window. I'm incredibly disheartened that a third smoke shop opened in Keswick Village shortly after I heard the news the vape shop ordinance went through. Frankly, it's becoming increasingly more obvious that the priorities of the township are misaligned with the community when it comes to this area. I'm confused as to why it seems impossible to address basic needs in Keswick, like poorly fashioned trash cans that the Greater Glenside Civic Association has been pushing to improve for over 2 years, wayfinding signage that has incorrect information from over 3 years ago, and unsafe street crosswalks. Meanwhile, vape shops with questionable setups and new parking meters and that signage can appear within weeks, seemingly with no problems or questions asked. I respect the issue of building ownership at play, making some positive change challenging, but the township can't seem to deliver on the low-hanging fruit in their control. I know in my last email on the topic, I've only sent 2. I mentioned both my concern regarding my property value as a newer resident on the circle, but more importantly, I'm concerned around the amount of effort the community puts into creating meaningful, family-friendly engagement in Keswick that now has multiple smoke shops in its background, in addition to closed or abandoned businesses. Both of these concerns are still top of mind. With that said, I want to applaud the many restaurants and businesses that do work tirelessly to overcome the optics in front of them, putting in their time and money to solve an issue that shouldn't be theirs. With the addition of this smoke shop alongside the other unaddressed needs that I mentioned, it's now more and more difficult to pretend that the thriving, quote, downtown featured in this week's Philly Inquirer article is close to true. The township and the EDC seriously need to consider and at minimum communicate how it plans to improve Keswick Village moving forward, including the number of vape stores, regardless of its application for grants to address an issue that is in front of them today. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room that wishes to come forward? Yep, please do.
Good evening.
Good
My name is Monique Allen, 203 Marco Road
Hi.
in the McKinley section. I just wanted to say good evening and so you can put a face with a name. I was appointed to the Human Relations Commission.
Oh, nice. Congratulations, and thank you for your willingness to volunteer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good evening.
You too. If there's no one else in the room, we'll turn to Zoom.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Russ, we can hear you. Thank you.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Ross Abel on Washington Lane with Jenkintown Abington neighbors and Bike Montgomery County. First off, thanks to Kristen and Laurie and all the other speakers for bringing the awareness to all of the needs we have for safer streets in Abington. Super appreciate that. I want to say thanks again to Officer Coughlin, Chief Malloy, Manager Chrisman for taking their time to talk through traffic calming ideas. I'm very excited to see the traffic calming policy being drafted by the traffic safety unit. So thank you for that. A pedestrian or vulnerable road user is hit about every 13 days in Abington. I think last count I had was it was about 5 killed in the last several years. So let's please form a traffic calming committee similar to Cheltenham to establish a township and citizen-led effort to address the many dangerous roads we have in our township for pedestrians and the vulnerable. Cheltenham's allocating $250,000 a year in their budget towards calming. Let's cut red tape to require mandatory calming zones around our schools and protect our kids, like our friends in Philly, Cheltenham, and beyond. Let's engage with Jenkintown, Cheltenham, and our state reps to pursue a multi-municipal traffic calming study for 611, our most dangerous state road. I wouldn't hate to see that on Easton as well, as we all know just how dangerous it can be. Let's make our town more livable, protect the environment, and enable our kids to be healthier and more physically active while connecting them to their community by pursuing safe pedestrian and bike pathways for them to get around. Just as an FYI, the DVRPC is working on a regional Vision Zero action plan, and they are taking public submissions where you can tag items like dangerous pedestrian locations. So let's all hop on there and show them where we need improvements. That comes after Philly just had their Vision Zero conference. If anybody has the ability in the future, it's a super awesome conference. There's a lot of other communities like ours. Delco is now doing an entire community-wide, countywide Vision Zero plan that they're releasing. So there's a lot of communities that are dealing with exactly these issues that have been brought up tonight. And there's so much information, and there are standards that we can utilize. We can make these streets safer. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments.
Ms. Lehman.
Laura Lehman, Meadowbrook, and I want to start by telling you that there is no reason for you to cut out the clapping or any part of the meeting. That when we first bought the equipment to film the meetings, that was a promise that was made, that the meetings would be filmed from start to finish and that they would not be edited. When you cut the sound out on part of the meeting, you are editing it, and only a very few people in the room get to see it. So please stop doing that. And then the other thing was mentioned tonight by one gentleman about the Economic Development Corporation and what the heck are they doing. We were promised also that we would know what they were doing, that it would be announced, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we are not able to get the information that we need. It is not with the agendas where it's supposed to be. It is not available to us, and we do want to know. So I hope that you will change that and let us know. Again, those were things that were promised when you were talking about setting this up and how transparent it would be. And it is not, it's completely opaque. I wrote all of you a letter. Please read that letter, because that letter is just the very tip of the iceberg of the corrupt things that are going on in this township. And when you have that level of things that are being done improperly and not according to laws, codes, and policies, then there is another name for that, and it will have to go somewhere else for review. This is not okay. We have the right to know officer. withholding documents, simply not giving all the documents that they're being asked for. And then a new tactic is to not scan documents. So when people ask for documents digitally, they don't think that the main document, the site plans for a development, for instance, wouldn't be scanned. But that's what's happening. And so I hope, Commissioner Hecker, you will give the order to have those documents scanned. And Mr. Christman, I hope you will give your zoning officer the order to get those documents scanned from multiple building projects that have had right to knows looking for those documents. Scan them and please get them distributed immediately. This is really disgusting that it's being withheld from people who are genuinely trying to help look out for the processes being correctly done in their township. In addition, in that letter, I wrote you about 1368 Valley Road, where every manner of violation is happening in the floodplain, and it is not getting a zoning hearing board review. I heard they stopped work the last 2 days. I am hoping beyond hope that's because you put in a stop work order and that you will get them to the zoning hearing board. They have no permit that we have any knowledge of that they're working on. The permit that they were given from NPDES says specifically that they have to follow township regulations and ordinances, and they are not doing that. So please have an open conversation with us about this, and let's get this project back on track. It is one of many that has been done improperly. 1209 Rydell Road was another blaring.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Lehman.
Thank you.
I believe we have one other resident that wishes to speak.
Marla Copeland, your microphone's unmuted.
Thank you. So I have a question just in reference to the question and comments regarding one of the residents made regarding traffic on Arnold Avenue. And the response was that we will follow up with you. So my question is, how will the rest of us, I'm sure you're going to follow up with that person who asked the question specifically, but how will the rest of us get your answer, your follow-up answer?
Well, we can certainly make sure that whatever the concern is can be communicated through township communication channels, website, social media, and the like, and we'll coordinate with the manager and his office to ensure that any answers provided to that question are available to anybody who's interested to hear the answer.
Okay, so we just check the website then.
When we have an answer and we're communicating, we'll make sure that it's blasted out so people who are interested can know where to look.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. And with that, the voting meeting is adjourned.
Mr. President?
I take that back. Vice President Vahey wanted to make comments.
Thank you.
I apologize. It's not, I do want to hear you.
No, you don't. I just want to recognize, I don't think I've seen so many people from Glenside in this room in my entire career on this board. It's awesome to see this engagement, and thank you so much for your time and commitment. This is a very challenging issue, and we do have to look at it from a township perspective, but we do take it seriously, and we'll do what we can to address these concerns. And I also just want to take a note of personal privilege. I know my Aunt Helen was here, first time a member of my family was here.
Oh, wow.
So, just a very nice night in this boardroom.
You
Thank
snuck that in. Thank you. Commissioner Weingrab, before we adjourn, I'm going to give you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think in listening to Kristen and Ross and the folks here, I think it's time that we really start looking at a consistent traffic calming policy. Clearly, there's a need around schools. There's a need in other areas. Part of what when we get things on the agenda about traffic, they're one-offs. I think what we need to do is try to have a consistent policy with regular criteria that everybody can count on. I know that at the last meeting, Officer Kaufman was here and did a fantastic job with the residents Is he? Yeah.
He's still here.
That is here.
He's in the flesh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to embarrass him, but I thought he did an excellent job, you know, with the residents that were
did.
here and calm them. And I think that we could do this in a more holistic way for the residents and people could come in and we could provide a forum. And whether that's through a safety committee, traffic calming committee, something like that, I think I would support. And I think that would be a good idea.
Yep, duly noted. We will follow up on that
Thank you.
conversation. Okay. With that, we are adjourned and we will take a 2 to 3 minute break before starting the working session. Thank you.